or Bin from independent TV, giving you the lowdown on which TV shows are binge-worthy and which ones are bin-worthy. This week, we've been watching Blackbird on Apple TV+, and Netflix's video game adaptation, Resident Evil.
And we'll introduce you to our pick of hidden gems we think you should be watching.
Hi Annabel!
Jacob, how are you?
Very good. I've been watching a lot of TV.
Oh yeah, let's dig into it. What have you been watching?
So, I've been watching a new show on Apple TV Plus called Blackbird. It is created by Dennis Lehane, who has, history writing episodes of very good TV shows like Boardwalk Empire, The Wire. So I was excited for that, but the reason why I was apprehensive was because it stars an actor who I actually find quite frustrating, which is Taron Egerton, who obviously played Elton John in Rocketman, and he's in the first Kingsman film. He acts with this this performative arrogance that I just kind of find quite grating. What I found is Taron Egerton actually can be a very decent actor when he wants to be.
Not for all the money in the world.
How about freedom?
In this, he plays a young guy who's thrown into prison for 10 years for drug trafficking and for owning machine guns. While he's in there, he's kind of spearheaded by the FBI, and they need him to befriend a killer so he can get the information from him of where a dead girl is buried. And the prisoners, I should say, is played by Paul Walter Hauser, who people might know from Clint Eastwood's film, Richard Jewell, and Ray Liotta, who sadly died earlier this year, and it's his last screen role. And while it's lovely to see him on screen, it's also very moving. But he's as good as he ever was. There's nothing really wasted in here, and I think that for me is always a positive, because the pet peeve for me and shows that a lot of people like that I don't like is that there's a lot of stuff that could just be stripped away. And, there's a lot of TV out there, so if something's more concise, it gets a thumbs up in my book. In the battle of the streaming wars, as they say, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, we've got all of these streaming services. Apple TV Plus is really standing heads and shoulders above. Shows that I think will be standing the test of time in decades to come. Whereas a lot of these other shows on Netflix and Amazon, I don't know if they will be.
Well, is it a binge or a bin?
It's a binge.
Well, on the subject of very disposable Netflix releases, it's quite fitting that I've been watching the new Resident Evil show, which is the latest adaptation of the video game that was released in 1996. And I'm going to preface this review by saying that I actually genuinely love a good zombie story. When they're good, they're great. Like, I loved the first few seasons of The Walking Dead. 28 Days Later was like my favorite film for a while. And also recently Netflix had a Korean language zombie series called All of Us Are Dead, which was just really fun. But yeah, Resident Evil, the latest show, does not live up to any of these things.
They said the world would end in 2036. But they were wrong. The world ended a long time ago.
This iteration is by showrunner Andrew Dabb, who most famously created the very long-running series Supernatural. And it's told through the eyes of Jade, who is played by Ella Balinska. So the story is split into two timelines. One is in 2036, and that's kind of our present day. And Jade is a research scientist studying the zombies on the streets of London. And then it kind of flashes back to 2022, where she's a child and we're kind of witnessing the genesis of this virus that turns everyone into brain-eating undead. There's so much exposition. There's a lot of lore that comes with like the video game, and I think they've tried to stay true to that, but it just ends up feeling really heavy-handed. And also I think the production here, the value feels cheap. Like the sets feel cheap, the CGI zombies are kind of half-baked. It doesn't really create that tension that comes with a good zombie story.
Doesn't sound promising at all to me. So, Resident Evil, is it a binge or a bin?
It's a bin. I said, I love zombie stuff, and I think there are a lot of good zombie things out there, and I do implore you to watch that All of Us Are Dead series, which, I mean, that's not like amazing CGI. It's actually pretty bad, but it's just a fun show, and I feel like Resident Evil is trying to lean into the kind of like trashy funness of it all, but it just doesn't deliver.
Should we talk about some hidden gems?
We should. What's
Let's
yours?
do it. So I like this part because we talk about the shows that we love that you might not have seen and we can recommend to you now. So my one is a show from 2018 that ran 2 series. It's called Save Me. Now, Save Me was a British show written, created, and starring Lenny James, who I think international audiences will know most as Morgan from the Walking Dead universe. Save Me is, I think, the highlight of Lenny James's career so far. In it, he plays a dad who's kind of estranged from his wife, played by Saran Jones, who's obviously so great in Gentleman Jack. Their daughter goes missing, gets abducted, and he basically goes to the ends. When I say the ends of the earth, I mean metaphorically, but he goes to some pretty extreme places by trying to get her back, uncovering a very traversing a seedy underworld of London.
Nelson Rowe, I'm arresting you on suspicion of abduction.
What's interesting is there's not really been a show that's put London on the map in such a very unnerving way in a long time, maybe since Luther, perhaps, where it's, awful shady goings on back streets that, you think, is this real? Is this true? Is this based on fact? So it is disturbing, and I would say proceed with caution if you are of a disposition and you live in London, I guess. But I think what stands it out is Lenny James' performance. I think he is a brilliant writer and he needs to do more of it. I know he's done it before in the past, but I think he needs to do more of it again. I think it stands up there with some of the best British shows of the 21st century so far.
I don't know if you're anywhere near, or if I'm anywhere near to you. I am coming for you.
My hidden gem this week is ARCANE, which is an adaptation of the universe of League of Legends, which is this very popular, most popular game in the world. It primarily focuses on 2 characters from the game, Vi and Jinx, and they're sisters on opposing sides of this dystopian war. As Jinx, you have Ella Purnell, who actually won an Annie, which is the award for voice acting for this role, which was her debut, which is incredible. But most people know her, I think, from Yellow Jackets. She played Jackie, and also she was in Tim Burton's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And then also you've got as Vi, Haley Steinfeld, the singer, and also the actor who is in Marvel's Hawkeye series opposite Jeremy Renner. I feel like a lot of adult animation is funny, like Rick and Morty, which I love, but this is just a sincere, earnest, really moving cartoon.
I have to try and find my sister. Powder? Vi?
This all sounds very nerdy video game-y, and I think that's why I was reluctant to watch it at first. But at the heart of it is just a really good, compelling story. And I think for people who do like League of Legends, and I do know lots of people who play it and love the series, what's so important is how they've managed to build in the lore and all this world building without feeling heavy-handed on the exposition, which is exactly what Resident Evil did. It all feels very natural, and I think whether you're coming at it like me, totally oblivious to the game, or if you're a hardcore gamer, I think you'd love it either way. It was a French animation studio, Fortiche, who's behind it, and they've kind of made this unique look by combining 3D characters with 2D shading and block colors, and it looks like nothing I've seen before. It also highlights what a difference good voice acting can make. I mean, I think when Money Heist was coming out, there was a lot of talk about how bad the voice dubbing, the English voice dubbing was for Netflix. And with this, it just goes to show that if you have good voice actors, it just makes a huge difference.
Imagining yourself a hero. I'm afraid this will be a very short reunion.
Thanks so much for watching Binge or Bin. That's a few recommendations there to keep you going, but also 1 to avoid, so watch out. Please do join us again next time. Like and comment below, and subscribe for more from Independent TV.